Hey guys, welcome back to the Doug and Corey Show.
In today's video, we're going to have an open spoiler discussion for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Did Marvel Jesus save the MCU? Stick around.
All right, guys, so Deadpool and Wolverine is officially released upon the world.
Yep, and so we're going to do an open spoiler discussion about the movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, come back after you've watched the movie because there's a lot of cool stuff that we're going to talk about.
Yep. All right, so, right off the bat, this movie just destroyed, the record for opening weekend an R-rated movie.
Yeah, it's already, we were just talking about after 5 days is over 500 million worldwide. It's going to hit 1 billion this week, I believe.
Yeah, I think it probably will, which is crazy. So I think it beat the original Deadpool by like 70 or 80 million for opening weekend, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So obviously I'm a huge Deadpool fan, so I was hyped going into it and it didn't let me down. There's some people that have mixed feelings on it, but for me, it was pretty close to perfect as far as what I was hoping for in that movie.
Okay. I definitely think it is one of the better MCU movies we've gotten in a while.
Yeah.
I think you told me after you saw it that it's in your top 5.
For sure.
It's probably not my top 5. And it's probably not my favorite Deadpool movie. But it was still really good. I still really liked it. I'm not knocking the movie at all.
Sure.
Just some of the things I like about the first 2 Deadpool movies just weren't there for me.
Colossus.
That's part of it, but it's not just Colossus. It's almost all the original cast.
Sure.
We didn't get hardly any Dopinder, hardly any Negasonic Teenage Warhead. So
that wasn't anything of a loss for me on either of those counts. They're okay. They're not anything special. They have their moments.
For me, it's the interaction with those characters. It's the juxtaposition with them compared to Deadpool. And I just like the way those characters work with Deadpool.
Sure.
Obviously, I like the way Wolverine and Deadpool work together. Their banter's great. But it was, I don't know, just a little bit of letdown. We got more Blind Owl than I think any of the other original characters.
A lot of
maybe more Peter.
Yeah, Peter was awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of cocaine jokes for sure, even though that was off limits. But there was a lot of stuff that they said they weren't going to touch and were off limits that they definitely went into.
Yeah, so we could go right into that.
It starts off in the forest where Logan is buried.
Yeah, we kind of assumed after, analyzing the trailers and stuff we got that they probably were going to be there at some point.
Especially with rumored of X-23 returning.
Yeah. But I don't know that anyone really necessarily expected how it was going to play out, and that they were, rather than not touching it, we're just going to go full bore right into Logan.
Yeah. That was pretty funny, just showing the exhumed corpse of Logan, just the adamantium skeleton just chilling there.
Yep.
That's pretty funny.
They in the trailer they had him killing TVA agents with like tree branches and stuff, but they ended up that wasn't really what he was using.
Yeah, he's using his ribs and different bones and stuff to stab him.
His whole spine and skull.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
He got to use what you can, but maximum effort. He definitely annihilated those TVA agents. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So it was funny. That dance sequence is like all over the internet right now.
It wasn't. Technically, it wasn't Ryan.
Yeah, and I was telling Amber, I was like, his body shape seems slightly different to me. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's not him. And then I saw an interview where they asked Sean Levy how long it took Ryan Reynolds to learn the dance, and he never really answered the question.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't him. And sure enough,
I think his name's Nick Pauli, I would believe. He's a dancer, and I remember watching his audition or whatever, and he was like excited. He's like, I got to learn this NSYNC dance right away.
Yeah, and there's a lot of videos of him online now. He's really getting a lot of publicity now. So that's pretty awesome.
So that was funny, and then obviously it kicks off, goes back a little bit to explain more of how he got there, of showing him in his birthday. He's working at a car dealership with Peter.
Yep.
Not enjoying his life, but he enjoys the people in his life. So I don't know. It was kind of cool, and then obviously it's his birthday. As soon as he makes his wish, the TVA or something, knock at the door.
Yep.
So that was pretty funny. The whole pegging stuff, and he's like, "Let's go down the hall. I don't want to make a messy on aisle."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the jokes were definitely really good in this. They did not shy away from that R rating at all. They really embraced it. So.
Officially, the MCU has said fuck 119 times, and 118 of them were in this movie.
Belong to Deadpool Wolverine, yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I even saw a thing that said it was like even well more than the first 2 Deadpool movies. Like the first 2 are like 80 and 90 something each.
Wow.
That's still a lot. But
Yeah.
this one,
Yeah. Yeah,
That's crazy.
they definitely leaned into that quite a bit, and the violence too. There's quite a bit of violence in this. I mean, like I said, they definitely earned that R rating. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of CGI stuff, which I know you weren't as excited about, but it flowed well enough for me. And there's just so much going on that it didn't take away from anything for me. Like, it was just, oh, cool. I want to watch it multiple times to see what I missed.
Yeah.
So, I've already seen it twice now, and I'm going to see it a third time on Friday. So
Nice.
I'm excited.
Well, and part of the stuff that I was disappointed about was the cameos. Although there was some really good cameos.
Yeah.
There was some things that we were hoping were going to happen that didn't happen, and then things that we kind of anticipated that did happen. So
yeah, I think they said that the Marvel press people put out a bunch of fake stuff intentionally to throw people off. So
yeah, that makes sense. Like we talked about Halle Berry. Not in the movie. Yeah, I mean,
a lot of the X-Men weren't in the movie,
Yeah, that's true. And some of the like villains and stuff that were in it from the original X-Men movies weren't actually the same actors too.
Yeah, almost all of them.
Yeah.
I think it maybe just Toad and yeah, I don't know.
No, I think Toad was not.
Oh, was it? I thought it was Ray Park.
I don't think it was. I think I heard it wasn't. The guy who played
Darth Maul?
Azazel was not in the actual actor. Juggernaut was not the same actor.
Yeah, he's like, oh, is this the new the Juggernaut for this year?
Yeah, yeah. I think Sabretooth was the same actor.
He was the original Sabretooth, because there was two of them so far, right? Or was he the second Sabretooth?
He was the second Sabretooth, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
I don't know. They've had a few different
I think
recastings.
3. I think he was the second out of 3, if I remember correctly. And then who was the other one that was? There was one other. Oh, Pyro.
Pyro was Aaron Sandfield.
That was the original. Actor,
he actually had a higher billing on it because he actually had some more speaking lines and stuff. And
he
then
had a little bit
funny when Hugh punched him and he's like, no, not everyone gets a speech.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some good, there's some funny parts. I know we're going to jump around a lot, but if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. So obviously one of the biggest cameos was Captain America. Like at least that's what it implied when he jumped down the superhero landing and stuff, and he's wearing the blue. You can't really see what's going on.
Yeah,
I don't know. That was like, even when I was watching with Bella, she was like, "Oh, it's Captain America." She's all excited, and then everyone's like, "He's gonna say it."
I knew, like, as soon as they were hinting at it being Captain America, and I saw his arms a little bit of red and then the blue, I was like, they're just teasing us. I was like, it's gonna be freaking Johnny Storm. I knew it. That was one of the rumors. Is that we're going to get Chris Evans back, but not as Captain America.
Yeah.
So, and then when you see a little bit of his blue underneath, I could see that the lines and stuff, and I was like, oh, dude, that's totally Johnny Storm. It is not going to be Captain America.
Yeah.
And that was the case, but his stuff was pretty funny.
Yeah, all of his cussing about Cassandra Nova and the credit scene.
It was like way even more than what what he was saying about her was so much worse.
I'm listening. Go on.
Yeah,
he's all looking at the camera, which kind of looks like Kevin, the little 3 lens thing.
Yeah, it did for sure. They even like switched.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. The TVA has the cameras all over. They have the outpost over by where Wade lives, and the subway system. They have all stuff everywhere. And it's kind of interesting how the new TVA, because obviously it's after Loki season 2, because they have new management, and Paradox is basically like, no, we used to prune timelines, and that's what he's trying to do. He's like going against what the TVA wants, trying to destroy, Wade's timeline since it wasn't happening fast enough for him.
Yep. So to try to keep us on track, let's get back into some of these cameos.
Sure.
So kind of the core group that he ends up meeting up with was a lot of the cameos.
The Resistance or whatever.
We kind of knew we were getting Elektra back, right? Like that was pretty heavily teased. Jennifer Garner didn't really shy away from it too much.
Even though we thought we were going to get Daredevil, and she's like, it's okay. Like, because he fairly died at Cassandra Nova.
Yeah.
That was funny.
That was funny. I don't know. For me, between Gambit, the Channing Tatum Gambit, and Wesley Snipes coming back as Blade, those are 2 of my favorites.
Yeah, that was cool. Seeing Wesley Snipes, I didn't expect.
Yeah, I didn't expect it either. I mean, I expected
Gambit.
I think almost every single thing that was in this movie was guessed at some point. But some rumors were kind of more solidified than others, and I don't think hardly anyone thought we were going to get Wesley Snipes as Blade. I mean, some I'm sure, said it and said, oh, we might get it, but the fact that happened was pretty cool.
There's only one Blade, and there's ever only going to be one Blade.
Yeah, I mean,
one Blade. Only ever going to be one Blade.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad so far. That's the way it's looking, but
I don't know. Yeah, it's now at least pushed back till possibly 2026. We'll get into that later, but. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Wesley Snipes will come back and Mahershala Ali will do something else. I don't know.
Yep. And so Channing Tatum as Gambit was pretty awesome. You know, obviously, I'm sure if you follow this kind of stuff, you know that there was rumored to be a Gambit movie that he was kind of gonna star in, and never happened. And so there was a lot of jokes and stuff about the fact that he didn't ever get to be his, his Gambit.
Because him and Ryan both had a similar path trying to get their favorite character off the ground, and obviously it panned out for Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool, but didn't work out for Gambit. So that was nice of him to be able to include him as Gambit in that.
Yeah.
I was disappointed they didn't have the purple eyes, but like you said, maybe the CGI budget was a little bit too high. They couldn't add purple to his eyes.
I was kind of joking about that because of how much CGI is in the movie already, but yeah, I mean they created an energy bow staff for him, right? Like
that was cool.
It was cool, but I've never seen that before. It's usually physical. I mean, but whatever. I was like, he didn't have a bow staff. I was like, man, he's not gonna have his bow staff, and then he had it all of a sudden. It's like a purple bow staff.
And his dialect, the way he was talking, like I was like, what the hell is he saying? Like I thought it was funny, but they played into that. Like, dialect coach
for sure. For sure.
Ooh, you nasty, mon beauté rouge. Les éléments relais, hein?
Not a single word. What do you do exactly?
You don't be knowing that it ain't coming off without that dome gonna come off with
I'm
it.
so sorry, beautiful. I want this to be gentle. Who is your dialect coach? The Minions? I feel like we are missing critical exposition here.
Yeah. There's some funny jokes about it. I enjoyed all of his.
Maybe I was born here. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he's like, there's no backstory for him in this universe because he never got to make his movie. So
I love that it was essentially a love letter to the Fox Marvel movies.
Yeah,
that's and they in the post credits, they see they show almost every actor behind the scenes stuff of them in their characters. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then we were thinking it definitely did change the trajectory of the MCU, but not to the extent that we were thinking it was going to.
Yeah.
It wasn't like anything like the post-credit scene wasn't like setting up the next movie or anything like that. It was funny.
It was definitely one of the more funny post-credit scenes, but yeah, it didn't have any ramifications for future movies.
Yeah. So I don't know. I enjoyed it very much. It's exciting that the mutants are finally here. I mean, they haven't officially called this next phase the mutant saga, but even Feige said that we're here, it's mutants, and it's time for mutants now. So I'm sure D23 or in the near future we'll get some announcements for some actual X-Men movies and maybe solo projects or team ups, because obviously Deadpool and Wolverine worked well together. Maybe they'll have other team up movies.
I mean, it seems like they're just going to kind of sprinkle in the mutants here and there. We got a little bit with Miss Marvel, and then the Marvels. We got some Beast in there, and I got Wolverine officially in the MCU.
And I believe that the universe that she went to where Beast was at, I believe that is the same universe from Logan and Deadpool and all that stuff, where at least that's what I read something earlier today that hinted at that what it was, like Earth 100005 or whatever it is. But yeah, obviously they're leading up to this big incursion with Avengers 5 and 6 of what's going to happen. And we'll get into some of that stuff with the SDCC video we're going to film. But there were some pretty cool announcements. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. Obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine will be back, at least in a couple more projects. We'll see who they cast for Wolverine in the future, or will he be doing it till he's 90? Who knows?
Yeah. So, we kind of got the villains we thought we were going to get, right? We got Cassandra Nova, which was, officially announced before the release of the movie.
And then you and other people were like, oh, I think Paradox is actually the villain, which they both were.
Yeah, they both kind of were the villains. Yeah. And, it was Cassandra Nova with the sling ring to open the portal. That was a little bit disappointing though, because like everyone's like, oh my gosh, they won't show where they're going. It's all just white because they don't want us to know. But like
that's what it was.
And then some of the other cameos we were hoping for, some of them were actually in the movie, but they stayed masked the whole time. So apparently Matthew McConaughey was the
cowboy.
The cowboy Deadpool.
I think it's called the Deadpool Kid is what he's called in the comics, but I don't know.
Okay.
They called him Cowboy Deadpool, I believe.
Yeah. And then Blake Lively apparently was Lady Deadpool.
Yeah. And I believe a while ago, Rob Liefeld said when he created Lady Deadpool, it was completely based off Blake Lively and Gossip Girl.
Wow.
Like him and his wife loved that show, and he designed the character based off of her. So that's really cool that she got to actually be Lady Deadpool, and that their kids were in it as well as Kid Pool
Yeah.
and Baby Pool. You know,
Yeah.
even if it was CGI, it was still credited to
Yeah.
their baby.
And then Nice Pool was credited as one of Ryan Reynolds' alter egos.
I think it's like his
Gregory
his
Reynolds
fake
or something.
twin brother or something like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist, but
Yeah,
yeah, that was funny with Nice Pool and Dog Pool and
Yeah.
Who's Your Papa?
yeah.
Yeah, those were all funny. I knew he was going to die at some point, but you know, it's funny that he didn't have regeneration. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's not, you know, he chose to be Deadpool. He's not, doesn't have the cancer. He's not affected the same way. No
Mhm.
regeneration.
Mhm.
But I enjoyed the Deadpool Corps fight scene, and it's cool because I'm sure we're going to get more Deadpool Corps at some point, because obviously most of them don't die.
Yeah.
They regenerate pretty quickly. So I'm hoping that the next Deadpool movie is a Deadpool Corps movie. That's my hope.
Well, I think Nathan Fillion was Headpool.
Yeah, he was Headpool, and there was a lot of good ones. They had the Wrexham Deadpool, they had the Wrexham logo,
yeah.
they had a Canada Pool. There were so many. They had like a futuristic lady pool that was like from Earth or 3099 or whatever. They had a lot of cool cameos. I like that it was a shot like, you know, them fighting them, going through.
Yeah, it was a cool scene.
Him putting his cowl on for the first time. Then that was I watched it on Thursday before it came out, and the place went crazy. Almost not quite as much as Chris Evans in Endgame catching Mjolnir.
Oh yeah,
but it was pretty like, oh crap, they're gonna kill the Deadpool.
I was glad they did it, and I wouldn't have cared if he did it for a few minutes and took it off, because I didn't think it looked that great. But it was a cool moment, and I was glad they did it. And then
the only thing I would have wished that would have been different is that they would have kept the shoulder pads. Like when he ripped off the sleeves, like it took the shoulder pads with it, because the shoulder pads were there.
Yeah.
And a lot of the toys and merch and stuff have him with the shoulder pads, and it looks really good. I wish they would have done that in the movie, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, you know, even though he's pretty big, he's not quite as big as Henry Cavill, which we did get to briefly see.
Yeah. We didn't get any of those cameos with like Daniel Radcliffe, and a lot of those were, you know, rumored, but nothing came to fruition with it. It's all Hugh Jackman.
There was a lot of Hugh Jackman Wolverine variants in it. Did you have a specific favorite?
I like the one, the brown suit one where he fights Hulk. I thought that was pretty cool because it looked really good. And it was hilarious. Obviously the comic accurate height one.
Yeah.
Even though I think that was even probably shorter. That looked way shorter than like 5'3" or whatever he's supposed to be.
I thought he was like under 5 foot. I thought he was like 4'11", or I don't know. Maybe it is.
I thought he was 5'3".
Maybe you're right. Maybe
whatever. He's short either way in the comic.
Yeah.
So
no, I thought that was probably my favorite.
Henry Cavill's was pretty badass though.
Henry Cavill was good. We've talked about this before on our channel.
Cavalrine.
That was pretty funny. I don't want Henry Cavill to play Wolverine as the primary Wolverine, but he did look really freaking good as Wolverine.
He was buff as well. He had the motorcycle, the cigar. He looked
Hugh Jackman is buff, but he's like a super skinny guy who has to work really hard to bulk up. Henry Cavill just has a totally different body type, you know, and he's way bulkier.
That's what Wolverine is, other than you know, Henry Cavill's pretty tall as well.
Now, if they would have done the comically accurate Wolverine played by Henry Cavill, then it would be freaking awesome.
Who knows? Maybe they could in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Still kind of sad that we didn't get like Daniel Radcliffe.
We could in the future, but it's kind of a bummer at this point.
And Taron, right?
Taron Egerton. Yeah. It was cool. I hope they bring Henry Cavill back in another role, like the Beyonder or something cool like that. I've seen some cool artwork of him as that. He deserves a bigger role, and like Ryan said, as Deadpool, like we'll treat you better than the shit fucks down the street.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I still really want to see him as Cyclops, but
that would be cool too.
Yeah, I know you like Cyclops, so
yeah, I would definitely love to see that. He's got the height, the look, everything. That'd be great. So yeah, either way, like this movie to me was really cool. That the shot of them after they're fighting the Deadpool Corps and they go through the bus and they jump out the back before he falls and eats crap. Like that shot is just like iconic.
Yeah, it was good. And I did tell you that it was not my favorite part of the movie because there was a lot of CGI going on there. It's pretty hard to not have that with so many characters fighting the way they were.
It didn't bother me.
But anyways, it was still good. I still really like the movie. It's, I don't know, maybe my third favorite out of the Deadpool movies. Just because I like the first two so much.
You like Colossus's part about the British Bake Off?
That was pretty funny. It's kind of disappointing. That was like almost the only line I think we got with him.
They look. I mean, I know he's a big dude, but he was like really huge when they showed him from the back when they got back or whatever, and he was like almost to the ceiling. It was crazy how big he was.
He's giant. He's like 8 foot something, I think, when
Pretty
he's
crazy.
Colossus. Yeah, he's tall anyways when he's, his non-metal form, but he's humongous when he's metal. Yeah.
Well, they didn't show him eating any cereal this
They
movie,
did not. Yeah. Well, I mean, he was still chilling though in his metal form, which
is what he does
yeah.
now.
Yeah, now in the Fox and MCU universes, he's always in his metal form, which is just ironic because if you know anything about Colossus, he would like never just do that because he really just doesn't like to use his powers unless he has to.
He's very, passive or whatever.
He is passive, yeah. He's
an artist.
He's very meek. He's got power under restraint. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a joke about Meek in the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can put Meek up there. Yeah.
He's very meek.
I think I've said it before, but he reminds me a lot of Captain America in the sense that, like, Captain America wouldn't use his powers for things if he didn't need to. He wouldn't just abuse his power. He uses it for good, and that's the same thing with Colossus. He doesn't kind of like rage out or nothing unless he really needs to, really protect someone or something.
Yeah. So with Cassandra Nova, her powers are pretty crazy. I mean, obviously she's got similar powers to Charles, but she has to get in there. Like she gets her hands dirty and sticks them through their heads and
yeah.
brains.
Well, to do that part of it, yeah. I mean,
It's crazy.
so much she could do, like tweaking reality, essentially, almost like she's got the reality stone.
Yeah. She which is weird because they showed the sling ring with the stones on there, but they didn't mention anything about the stones. It's just like, hey, a amateur magician came through here once. Like, so was that Doctor Strange or was that Ned?
Yeah,
he's an amateur magician, right?
He is an amateur.
I don't know.
I think the idea was it was supposed to be Doctor Strange, and she was calling him an amateur because, like, that's how powerful she is. That to her, he's an amateur.
And obviously, Deadpool said Strange or whatever he said afterwards. So obviously, that's what they're hitting at. But it was kind of funny. I was like, oh, maybe it's someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Wong. I don't know.
Yeah. So we'll see what this ends up meaning for the MCU going forward. I mean, obviously, Deadpool's here, and I can't imagine them kind of leave him on the wayside.
For sure. He'll be back for sure by the next Avengers movie, which we'll get into soon. But obviously, that has a new title, is Doomsday. So I'm sure he'll be back for that. That's exciting. I don't know. We'll see some more Hugh Jackman as well, which he was fantastic in this movie, as he is in most movies.
Yeah. I think a lot of us assumed that this would kind of be his final farewell and they would introduce a new, Wolverine variant, but that didn't happen.
Other than the Cavill one, but which he was very quick.
Yeah, but he did say that he's had more fun playing this character in this movie than he has in any of the other movies. So
yeah, I think him in the suit like really reinvigorated him as this character.
Yeah, he talks about that in an interview too, saying how he thought it was look silly and stuff, but when they both of them together got in the suits, he's just hyped up,
Mustard and ketchup.
Yeah,
it looked good. I don't know. A lot of people didn't like the yellow suit. They liked some of the other suits better that they showed in the quick little scene, but I enjoyed it. It's a classic suit.
Yeah, no, I liked it. It didn't break anything for me. In fact, I really liked the conversation they had about the suit and why he was wearing it despite being so beat down.
Yeah.
So I thought it fit the story perfect.
It was interesting when they were trying to have him help them to go after Cassandra Nova, and he was just sitting there talking to Laura.
Yeah.
And how the line in the trailer had her say, you never were, or until you were, or whatever.
And
and then she never said that. She's like, you never were, and then just walked away. I'm like, wait, what?
Got the wrong guy.
You were always the wrong guy. Till you weren't.
What?
Yeah.
I'm like, that kind of took away from it. Like, I was excited. Like, that was an emotional, kind of.
She did say it later on, or we heard it's being said later on, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was the best. He was the best Wolverine, according to Deadpool at the end. It was cool how they were able to work together to, essentially beat Cassandra Nova. I mean, I don't know that she's dead. She, in the comics, Charles kills her and she basically goes into the sewers and her essence becomes this being.
She manifests
she's a Mumu dry, so she's not really human or a mutant even. She just has some of his powers. And then she did disintegrate or whatever with the Time Ripper, but I'm sure she'll be back at some capacity. I'm guessing in the X-Men movie or something.
I wouldn't be surprised. She's pretty powerful. She's
one of the few villains that have been really good. Some of the villains kind of peter out for the MCU. This one's been really good. I
agree. She seemed like a legitimate threat, and that's something that I feel like Kang was really lacking. And I didn't feel threatened by Kang. Cassandra Nova, I was thinking, man, it doesn't matter. She could have stopped the whole team of them that showed up to take her out, easily. she kind of like let them have their fun, and
Yeah. She liked to be a god, is what she said, of the void. She liked to be in control, and
yeah.
it was interesting. That was cool with the whole Scott Lang, the giant man, and just in the skull, like it's like a window for her. That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of funny jokes in that movie.
Yep. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up, guys.
Yeah.
So let us know your thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine, and tell us, maybe what your favorite parts were.
All right, guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Have a marvelous day.
Yeah, but
will Marvel Jesus save the MCU? Maybe just like leave
we
it
can
open?
say did, as far as like, did this movie just like kind of, reset things and get Marvel back on track?
I think so. At least in general, I think it's on a good trajectory.
I think they're changing to less projects per year and focusing on the quality of them is like a big thing for sure. I don't really care. We just have to officially decide on how we're wording it for the most part. So is that what we're saying?
Did Marvel Jesus save the MCU? Something simple like that? Is there something funny?
Save the MCU makes it sound like he's like within the storyline, which that could kind of be a double meaning, but I mean like the business of the MCU, like he kind of
he's
saving that.
He saved, so it's a double entendre, I guess.
Yeah. Is that what it's called? An entendre?
I think so.
Is there a triple entendre?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, dude, that's crazy. Can we do one of those
later?
Okay.